Most of you know that follow my channel, I run Rockford Fosgate T2500.1bd CPs in a lot of my rides, but I've never thrown one on the dyno yet. So what CP stands for is constant power, which means it delivers a lot of the same power at 2 ohms as it does at 1 ohm. Rather than me try to explain what constant power means, you can look right down here at the link, rockfordfosgate.com, and you can see all that stuff. They'll explain everything, how all the technology works. Now, is it exactly the same from 1 ohm to 2 ohm? No, it's pretty close. It helps out a lot. When you hook up your 1 ohm woofers in a box and they get to moving, they're not 1 ohm anymore. So anything that helps once those woofers start moving is a good thing. So let's see what this thing does. Now, normally I don't like to show the birth sheets of the amplifiers themselves because they test their stuff a different way than we do. I'm running on 14-volt battery bank that I'm charging in between runs. They have a whole deal that they're testing on, so if I could get close to what they have here, then it's always a good thing. So here we have the Rockford Fosgate T2500 on the bench, ready to go. Rockford Fosgate 1/0 cable, running over to a fuse holder and then running off to the battery bank. 8-gauge speaker wire, nothing out of the ordinary. I have a bank of 14-volt excess power batteries, which I will charge in between runs, just a little bit past 15 volts. Why do I run at 15 volts? Well, it's not really 15 volts. It's a big fat surface charge that's on those batteries, but I shut the power supply off and let it run. So as soon as the amp starts being tortured, the battery bank comes down and the actual voltage reading is taken towards the end of the test anyhow. So it doesn't really make that big of a difference. It's just keeping my bank fresh while we're testing. So like I said, it's not perfect. It's not how the manufacturer would do it, but it's pretty close. A battery bank averaging around 14.5 volts, just like your alternator should in most cars. So welcome to Amp Test Tuesday. Let's get it started. Yeah. Well, it looks like that amp did very well. But you know what? There's a lot of other things that go into making an amp great. I own 14 of these amps currently right now. Actually, I got a couple on the table, so I own about 17. But currently in vehicles, I own 14 of them. Every single one of them is rated 2,500 watts, but with burst sheets over 3,000. Almost all of them are at 32, 3,300. And also, when you're talking about an amp that does all of its power at 1 ohm, say a 3,000 watt amp, you're gonna normally see maybe 15 to 1,600 watts out of it at 2 ohms. The fact that this thing does 2,900 watts at 2 ohms is pretty damn good. So we're talking about an amplifier that's rated at 2,500 watts RMS that does all of its power and then some at 1 ohm, but you drop it down to 2 ohms and it still does almost 3,000 watts. Did I say rated at 2,500? Yeah. I'm gonna go ahead and say it passes.